Hey, how you doing? It's Dan McDonald here. I'm the Life Regenerator on YouTube, and I've got just a few short minutes to make a video addressing something that I thought was a great question on Facebook. I made a post on enzymes this morning, which kind of arose out of a comment that I made on the YouTube. I don't do a lot of commenting on the YouTube. I save most of my time on the internet for the Insiders Club videos as well as Facebook. But occasionally I'll go over there and, you know, just scroll through the comments and just check that out and see what's going on over there. But anyways, I made a post on the Paradigm Enzymes and Probiotics on Facebook, and it's pretty cool. Anyways, there was a really great question from this. So this guy, I won't mention his name actually, just in case he wants to stay anonymous. But anyways, why is the modern raw diet so deficient of enzymes that we need to supplement? I've been raw for 4 weeks, never felt better, and energy is through the roof. Why do I need these enzymes? Am I not getting these through my new raw diet of herbs and vegetables and fruit? And that's a good question. I mean, obviously, when you go raw right away, you're going to have the pink cloud effect, because basically you're eliminating everything that's sluggish, slime, slop, that totally brings you down, which is like dead food. And that really just, it's hard on your digestion. It robs you of vitality because you have a certain amount of vital force flowing through your brain and nervous system at all times. Most of mankind spends their vital force digesting food. So that leaves us with a lot less of the genius awakening and illumination that human beings are capable of. And so I thought that was just a great question. So at first, of course, you're going to feel great, but there's a continuation of levels that you want to continue to pursue as you evolve on this path back into the full activation of dormant potential through basically like generational curses of living in ignorance after generation of hamburger helper, abuse, drugs, violence, alcoholism, and neglect for our bodies to live in a natural way. So is the modern raw diet deficient in enzymes? That is a very good question, and it gives me an opportunity to share with you something that I think needs to be addressed, and that is that, and I'll try not to, because what I do is I'm like, hi, I'm on the island of Kauai, and my life is really awesome in the sense of the raw foods, and for the rest of you out on the mainland, I'm sorry. And they're like, well, I'm really depressed now, Dan, because our food sucks. And I'm like, well, I'll try to be as gentle as I can and encouraging as I can without making you depressed, and bring to the attention the fact that the foods that we've been consuming most of our lives, even the fruits and vegetables, well, particularly the fruits and vegetables this relates to, because hamburger helper can sit on the shelf for 3 years, and then you could pour that box into some boiling water, and it somewhat reconstitutes what was once came from many different places to formulate what the world calls food. Now, hamburger helper, which I grew up on a lot, God bless my mom, and my dad, is not real food. Fruits and herbs are the food of mankind. Fruits and nuts, actually, to tell you the truth, fruits and nuts are the food of mankind. And then herbs we use for our healing. This is going to start a whole nother topic here, and that is that vegetables really are a secondary class of food, being that they have so much earthy sediment. We are pure water. We are pure electricity. We are enzymes and minerals that create, enzymatic and biocatalytic reactions. So you're either like going up and exploding and expanding outwards with vital force and life energy, or that energy is going down into your stomach mostly to digest what the world considers food. Now it stimulates you up here, and it fills up your stomach so much it touches your heart. You feel some warmth on your heart, and food becomes love, but it's not the food that brings you the life force, energy, and vitality. And here's the reason why. Thank you for letting me get warmed up for a minute. I got just a couple minutes and I got to go. I'm hella busy today, and I'm way behind schedule, but I had to address this right now while it was top on my mind, otherwise it would get passed by. So check it out. Now the thing is I go to the tree and I pick a lychee off, or I go to Linda and I say, hey Linda, were these picked this morning? And she goes, yes, I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and started picking these lychees. So what those lychees have is a bioluminescence. Here's the thing about raw foods and why enzymes are fun to play with and can be supportive in your journey on the raw foods. And here, I'll tell you the truth. I know people that are extremely advanced raw foodists, detoxifiers, fasters, and healers, and they all love the probiotics and enzymes. Why do you need to take probiotics and enzymes after months and months of fasting on water and nothing but fruits? I have one friend who loves the enzymes. She comes over and we have enzyme parties. She loves the probiotics. I have another guy who fasted for 3 months on water and lives off coconut water and green powders and absolutely loves the probiotics to culturize his food, to make that fermented food, to get those microflora in there and just keep yourself super strong. And there's a lot of reasons that we do that. There's so many viruses and stuff that can proliferate if your immune system drops. You want to keep that high, and most people didn't get fed properly. I digress and go back to the original point to tell you that when you eat these foods that are hanging off the trees, now coconuts hold their charge, but now oranges, an orange on a tree, truly tree-ripened orange, at the very end of its cycle of life before the tree drops it down and to the animals that would eat it and pass its seeds out into nature, is a boost of enzyme activity and a boost of, bioluminescence, mineral conductivity. If a fruit or vegetable is unripe, it is not going to have that. There's this perfect stage in animals in nature. You got to fight the birds. You're like looking at the cherries, right? You're like, okay, cool, you little sucker ass birds and squirrels and stuff. I see, you see what I see. And those cherries aren't quite ripe, but in the next day or two, we all going to be fighting for those cherries because it's going to be at the peak pop. And when your intuition wakes up after years of being on raw foods and fasting, you can tap in. And you're like, the lychees are ready. It's like you have this sonar radar. That's one of the beauties of raw foods and illumination through the blood and the mind by getting grounded on the earth and breathing in the fresh air and clearing the obstructions and occlusions to the dormant capabilities that you have, which are called cities. And you can wake up and you can just tap in and you can see what someone's thinking, and you can also see the ripeness of the fruits and the vegetables on the trees and whatnot. And then you can go to the grocery store and intuitively begin to eat. And you see, oh, those oranges are fresh, and those, like the inorganic oranges are fresh, but the organic ones are like hella old and don't have the same vitality. So my point is that fruits and vegetables on the tree have the peak of enzyme activity and the mineral conductivity, and the water is at its peak of absorbability, and so that's conductivity or bioluminescence. It's like the aura of the fruit on the tree that's truly tree ripened, because when the roots are down in the earth and there's all that microbial activity from all the lots and lots of microbial activity, just the powerful living soil with lots of microorganisms, and the roots are alive, and that electricity goes up into the tree, and that's where the water is absorbed through the roots of the tree, and the conductivity and electricity, and then you got the fruit hanging down, and then the sun shines upon the leaves and sends that love right out into those branches, and then it feeds that fruit because it wants that fruit to be beautiful and bright, and it wants that fruit to be eaten by animals. Animals are not sitting there going, hey, look at me, I have a beautiful coat of skin, come and eat me. It doesn't look like that. But the fruits on the trees become very attractive to animals and particularly humans, and we're very blessed that we can reach up and get the nuts and the fruits in many ways that so many other animals cannot. So we have these hands and stuff, so the fruits and the nuts are the highest vibrational foods that help the human beings to ascend to higher levels of consciousness, and they have the least amount of earthy deposits or sediment, which gets trapped in the cells and makes your lower back tight and hardens up your kidneys and clogs up your liver and jams up your thyroid and can create like ossification around the pituitary and pineal, and then those earthy matter gets trapped in the joints, and then there's tightness there. So we're looking to lubricate and hydrate, mineralize, and keep our enzyme activity high, because enzymes are life. Nothing happens in this entire universe without enzymes being the absolute biocatalyst for that function to take place, as two substrates become one, or two substrates become separate and then become much more bioavailable. 90% of the enzymes activity that takes place in like the pyridine enzymes is catabolic, breaking things down so that they can be absorbed and utilized. But about 10% of that activity, and I came up with this on my own while meditating, is about anabolic type activities. That's why you can slam the enzymes and build muscle, and you can also slam the enzymes and lose weight, because it's all about efficiency, absorbability. So the main point about that is the modern raw diet deficient, and the answer is, well, for most of you, no offense without getting you depressed, the food, I'll just put it like this, the food is not as high vibrational as it could be if we lived in a perfect world, i.e. the perfect world being the island of Kauai, with the lychees and the papayas and the mangoes dropping off the trees, and the avocados are just starting to come into season, and the coconuts are highly vibrational, which they hold their charge better than any other food, I think, on the entire planet. That's why I love coconuts, and I haven't eaten anything except coconut for the last 3 days. So I went on a 3-day tea cleanse, of the purity cleanse, and then I went on, now I'm on just eating just coconut, and I feel frickin' ridiculously good. Like, oh my God, I see now, that's why the fruit, it really is fruity, but it's like fruit for breakfast. But to be on fruit all the time, it's a good detox. But too many people start fermenting and putrefying, and it drives them crazy. In fact, you know, it was just funny, this lady was like, why are you being addicted to the vegans? I'm like, I'm not being addicted to the vegans. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to act like that. I don't want to act like that. I don't want to police people. Everyone I know pretty much eats animal products in some kind, and I'm not here to police the world. I'm here to inspire the hell out of people, and they say, what the hell is he on? Because whatever he's doing, I want that, because he's slim, trim, and he doesn't show any signs of slowing down. In fact, he's getting younger, healthier, more vibrant, and clear every day that goes by through this process of fasting, detoxification, and raw foods, and his alignment to divinity, which of course is the main thing. And if you really want to get healthy, you learn how to breathe. Again, I digress and go back to the point that the oranges and the apples, oh, the apples are only 3 months old. So what happened to the enzyme activity in the apples? Well, it's way the hell down than when it was when you went to the orchard and picked the apple off the tree. The enzyme activity was through the roof, because it was ripe and you knew it, and you were also fighting the squirrels at that time, and the birds were coming in to peck. But you can just eat around the little bird bites, because they can't eat a whole apple. And I would just take one bite of an apple and throw it down to the horse, and that horse loved me. He knew I was coming from a mile away, because I'd ride my bike right up the valley, and I'd go climb into this tree, which was a cross between like a Gala and a Fuji, from years ago, from the pioneers that came there 100 years ago, and these trees would just be draping with apples, and no one would eat them because everyone was eating the meat and all this dead weird stuff like Hamburger Helper and government cheese and green beans and turkey and cow and stuff. And I'm like, wow, I have all these cherries and all these apples, and none of these people, because they're all loggers and stuff, understand what they've got here. And then they take the apples and make the apple pie, and I'm like, y'all are tripping. I'm gonna make me some apple juice with kale in it, but I'm just going to eat these apples right off the tree. So the apple is the highest level of vibration when it's connected to the tree, because it's got the solar power going into the leaves, activating itself out into the fruit, and it's got the microbial activity, life force vitality running through the trunk, running through the branches. So there's this cycle. Then the farmer goes over to the tree, plucks it, puts it in a silo, and then guess what happens? That bioluminescence that comes through the enzyme and mineral and high living water conductivity that, you know, holds itself depending upon the type of plant cellulose that it has. That's why the coconuts, they're just pure plant cellulose wrapped around that nut. So it just holds its charge. But certain things like apples and grapes, they lose their charge right quick. That's why you want the highest level of enzyme activity, and I know that you ain't getting this, 97% of you are not capable of going right to the grapevine orchard and eating the grapes. Sometimes you find some berries in the woods, blackberries and stuff like that. That's the way to eat. If the blackberries are growing in your neighborhood, you don't even think about going to get some crazy ass breakfast. You go to where the blackberries are, you have those for breakfast, or you just make a blackberry smoothie. with coconut and banana or something like that. Now the bananas ripen up and the avocados ripen up, but if you've ever had a tree ripened banana that you just left on the tree until it turned yellow and started to spot, now you got something, because what you'll have is the highest levels of mineral density and the highest frequencies of enzyme activity. Who gets that? Nobody. So like I said, I'm not trying to depress you, because I want to encourage you to eat raw foods. It's better than like cooked foods in a can or something like that. But I'm just saying, grow your own food. Get that enzyme activity. Go to the fruit orchards and find the local fruit and eat that. I'm saying, if I can live off coconuts for 3 days so far and show no signs of slowing down and only feeling better and clearer because of the sattvic nature of the food, that is the coconuts, which is at the same time ascending, grounding, and strengthening all at the same time, and clarifying, because it's just pure oil and fat. And I just go to and it's all free, because I go to the beach and there's thousands of coconuts, sprouties, coconuts that just drop right there close to my head. And then I thought to myself, damn dude, no wonder people talk about getting knocked out on the head from coconuts. I thought, oh, the probability and the mathematical probabilities are extremely low, like maybe like getting struck with lightning. Well, that's not true, because yesterday I was on the beach gathering some sprouties to make a video and to eat out on the beach so that I can eat for free, so that I can eventually slow down my need to be a slave to the matrix grind, which I love anyways, and having more fun than ever before because of Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and it's really actually getting to be super fun. So it's like I need less money, but it looks like I'm going to be making more now because I'm the enzyme evangelist, and that's really cool, because I love Pyridime and Leucorona. They have the best packaging for one, and the best, purest probiotics and enzymes in the entire world, and everyone's going to be taking those because nobody knows how to eat right, and the food sucks. And I don't mean to depress you, it only sucks in the sense of, hey, I eat lychees and coconuts off the tree, and the highly vibrational food can really activate you because the enzyme activity is so high. And on the mainland, you get these foods that are kind of old, like a week old or 3 days old or 2 months old, and it's like doesn't have the same pop. So still eat the raw foods, and don't let me get you down. Just get the freshest food that you can. So get inspired instead of depressed in the sense of, oh, I can't do what Dan's doing because he lives on the island of Kauai, doesn't wear shoes, no shirt, and gathers all the food off the trees for free. And I'll have a little salad every once in a while at the farmer's market. But I'm just saying that you just got to do the best you can, but get inspired, come back again, by realizing that this is your homework. If you like what I do here and you consider me some kind of teacher or whatever, then I'm going to prescribe to you some homework, and that is educate yourself with your intuition on foods that are the most high vibrational, what's in season, and be attracted to those things, and eat intuitively and eat as locally and organically and as balanced as you can. There's no like, just nothing but sugars and carbs. Well, that's a little out of wacko, because I haven't seen anybody that's sane in that department. And then there's the people that are just more paleo, and they're like, I won't eat any fruit, you know what I mean? But somewhere right in the middle, of course, I just have been eating coconuts, which is somewhere right in the middle between carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And plus the breath work is what's really keeping me alive. So practice the breathing, because you're a breatharian. Because if you stopped eating and I stopped eating, you know, if you stopped eating, how about this? That's a funny little joke that I like to tell. We are breatharians, and that is like, okay, I'll tell you what, let's have a contest. You stop breathing and I'll stop eating, and we'll see who lasts longer. So that just proves that air and oxygen is way more important than food, because it's an absolute necessity. Within like 3 to 5 minutes, some yogis can hold their breath for longer periods of time, and if you develop that, you can go into suspended animation, but 99.99999% of you are never going to do that, so it's not even worth bringing up. But I'm just saying that you can hold your breath for, what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes if you're highly trained, and maybe 7 minutes, some kind of world record or something like that for a real average person. So I'm just saying that the more breath, less food, but make sure it's more nutrient dense and has higher levels of enzyme activity. And then I'm just saying the reason why I still use the enzymes and probiotics is because it does purify the blood, because it does add activity. And the other point that I wanted to make before I got to go is that we're not just dealing with oh, I'm going to change my diet and everything's going to be great, because I'm talking about the continuation of patterns that are family patterns, that is degenerated states of consciousness in another way. And remember when I fasted on enzymes for 7 days and my brain lit up like a fire and I could see my subconscious responsibility, that I was magnetizing everything. Now, I'd done 10 water fasts for 7 days before that, but I did water and enzymes for 7 days, and I will tell you, I never ran out of energy like I do on every other water fast. There's always at least a day or two where I'm just down in bed. That never happened once when I was on the enzyme fasting, just eating nothing but enzymes, like 3 scoops a day and water, and that was it. I never ran out of energy, I never got tired, I never had any of the depression, because the enzymes purify the blood. Because as the toxins are being released from the lymphatic system and the cellular, the intracellular, toxins that get trapped, like the earthy matter or the heavy metals, and the list goes on, xenoestrogens and everything else, that once you begin to detox and purge, they all go back into the bloodstream system. If you can keep the blood clean, and also colonics are extremely beneficial during those periods, you know what I mean? And plenty of water, and make sure your kidneys are filtering as well. Number one, the kidneys have to be filtering, so you want water, cucumber juice, and watermelon juice to get those kidneys filtering. Parsley's really good too, as well as a tea called Stonebreaker is probably the number one thing, is some herbal tea that's called Stonebreaker. Chanca Piedra, I think is what it's called. And you want to use that. I would go really strong on that, because it's not so much detoxifying it is just breaks up the accumulations in the kidney so you can start filtering again. Then everything else can go down. But the enzymes actually create oxygen in the system as well as the raw living foods. But the problem is there again. An apple on the tree has 10 times more oxygen than the apple that sat in a silo for 3 months in a deoxygenated environment, pulling the oxygen out of the apples. And your refrigerator pulls oxygen out of your fruits and vegetables as well. That's why I like to use coolers to store stuff, because you don't have that pulling of the oxygen. It's an oxygen-free environment, and the refrigerator pulls the oxygen out of your fruits and vegetables. There's so many things to learn and educate. I hope you got some kind of nugget. Again, just doing my thing here on the YouTube, and I just love it. So I just had a great time for 20 or 25 minutes, whatever the heck it is, and that's all that really matters, is are you having fun with your trip, and are you doing what you're supposed to do when you're down at the beach and God says, be the enzyme evangelist because the world needs it? I'm like, yes, sir. At your command, okay? Because that was a very clear message, God. And that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And it's going to be, there are so many people that love this and understand, and they call up Morocco method, which is why my hair is so weird. Look at how crunchy that is. Got the Morocco method in my hair. I was going to say that at the beginning of the video. What the hell's wrong with your hair, Dan? I got the Morocco method in, and I talked to the lady over there this morning, and she's like, dude, these people call you up, they call us up, and they love you, man. And then the same thing with Doug over here. These people love you, man. And I said, well, I love them. You know what I mean? And the people that love me are the people that I love back, and the people that don't love me are the people that I love back. Because they're the ones that point out to me, like, oh, I got to keep educating and refining myself as a human being, and that's what it's all about. Can you dig it? All right, I hope that answered some of your questions, bro. Thanks for the great question on Facebook. Check out the post on Facebook. Like my Facebook page over there, because I'm doing a lot more cool stuff. Some plugs and some, free stuff and just pictures and cool stuff like that. Facebook, Instagram, it's all fun. It's like, wow, dude, I never would have thought. I'm so not technologically advanced person, but I'm using it because thank God for the Mac and all these little Instagrams and Facebooks. They make it super easy for us to do this, and then to connect with the world and be like, holy crap, I'm gonna go eat some fruits and vegetables off the tree. This guy totally inspires me. And then it's like, wow, how many people's lives did I change just by sitting here having a good time? That's all I want to know. Thanks for a thumbs up. I gotta go, for real. 1 hour's worth of information in 30 minutes, only from DTM. Peace. Love ya. For real. Out.